This little white girl, Caitlin Clark, comes in and busts y'all's head wide open. They leave y'all to shoot any shot you want and you can't win, and you want to sit there, oh, it's just so dangerous. My players couldn't play because reporters were gossiping about them. And Lisa Bluter, the coach of Iowa, said we were bar fighters. It's just so dangerous. The basketball establishment is reacting to Caitlin Clark much the same way the golf establishment reacted to Tiger Woods 25 years ago. Most of the establishment is overjoyed. They see the opportunity, attention, and cash the Iowa basketball star can bring to the women's game. And then there's the contingent of bigots, the people fearful Clark's ascension will diminish them. South Carolina head coach Don Staley and LSU center Angel Reese are the leaders of the latter group. They're Fuzzy Zeller. Tiger Woods triggered Zeller. You remember Fuzzy. He won the 1979 Masters and the 1984 US Open. More than those victories, Zeller is remembered for the racist and mean-spirited comments he made toward Tiger Woods during the final round of the 1997 Masters. Let me refresh your memory of how Fuzzy Zeller responded when Tiger was on the brink of winning his first Masters.
He's doing quite well. Pretty impressive. Little boy's driving it well, he's putting well. He's doing everything it takes to win. So you know what you guys do when he gets in here? Pat him on the back, say congratulations, enjoy it, and tell him not to serve fried chicken next year. Got it. All right. Or collard greens, or whatever the hell they say.
That's Fuzzy Zeller. Yeah, that's him snapping his fingers and talking about collard greens or whatever the hell they serve. Yeah, that's Fuzzy. Caitlin Clark, a white basketball star dominating a black sport, triggered Don Staley and Angel Reese. Clark's Hawkeyes upset Staley's #1 ranked South Carolina team Friday night in the semifinals of the Final Four. Following the game, Staley deflected attention away from her coaching errors and Clark's magnificent performance by complaining that unnamed reporters called South Carolina players thugs and monkeys. Staley framed Iowa coach Lisa Bluter's harmless comment about a rebounding bar fight as racist. Take a listen.
Times other coaches, your colleagues, have sitting in that spot and talked about you all being bullies. What's the truth about your team?
The truth about our team, okay? It's a good question, okay? We're not bar fighters. We're not thugs. We're not monkeys. We're not street fighters. This team exemplifies how you need to approach basketball on the court and off the court. And I do think that that's sometimes brought into the game, and it hurts. Okay, and I do think that some of I'm gonna say it because I said I was gonna say it, whether we lost or whether we won. Some of the people in the media, when you're gathering in public, you're saying things about our team, and you're being heard. And it's being brought back to me, okay? And these are the people that write nationally for our sport. So you can not like our team, okay? You can not like me, but when you say things that you probably should be saying in your home, on the phone, or texting out in public, and you're being heard, and you are a national writer for our sport, it just confirms what we already know. So watch what you say when you're in public and you're talking about my team in particular. Just watch what you say about our team, because it's wrong.
So I want you all to think about what it is we just heard. This is a woman sitting on a stage preaching to and trying to control the thoughts, words, actions of other people that are out to dinner having a conversation. And again, we have to take her at her word. She didn't put any name on any of this. She just smeared everybody. Some national right. And the media is such cowards, they're allowing her to smear everybody. I don't know who the national writers are that cover women's college basketball. They probably work for ESPN or maybe they work for The Athletic. I don't know. But she just smeared them all because she didn't put a name on anything. We're just supposed to take her word that some conversation happened where allegedly her team, again, if you follow her line, somebody called them monkeys, someone called them thugs. This whole bar fight thing she's talking about is the Iowa coach at a press conference before the semifinal game praising Don Staley's team's ability to offensive rebound and how physical they are. And she said specifically that, going for rebounds is like getting into a bar fight and you just got to get in that mindset because they're so good at it. This is just someone talking about a physical team imposing their size advantage and strength advantage over another team. There was a size disparity. They got a 6'7" kid coming off the bench at South Carolina. They got a 6'5" starting center who's likely going to be the #1 pick in the WNBA draft, and it's Aaliyah Boston. And so a coach talking coach speak says bar fight, and Don Staley sits on a platform with the whole national media watching and paying attention and basically calls Iowa's coach a racist. And then these unnamed reporters, they're out calling us monkeys and thugs. Really? Really, that's what's happening. And you can make those type of allegations. If this is what's called a conspiracy theory. She's offering up no evidence. She's just rattling off at the mouth some narrative that everybody wants to hear and that she knows the media will gobble up. She invented this entire racial narrative out of thin air. And of course, corporate media did what it does. It sold Staley's lies and gossip. A white reporter egged Staley on, suggesting that the unsubstantiated criticism of Staley's players was dangerous. Watch.
Don, Aaliyah talked about there's a narrative with this team, this particular one, about their physicality. Do you think it worked against you guys tonight? And if so, how annoying is that?
Yeah. I mean, I do think with all the talk of how we play and the physical nature in which we play, and the the description of our team, I do think it plays a part, and people got to do what they got to do to win. But I'm not gonna stoop that low. I'm not gonna talk about teams, and I'm not gonna talk about players. We got work to do. We've won a lot of basketball games doing it this way. We'll win a lot more because we're not changing. We're not gonna change just because people are saying what they say about our team.
How dangerous is that narrative? I mean, we're talking about young women. We're talking about athletes. And we're talking
about black athletes too. I mean, how difficult it is? It's very difficult.
And how dangerous?
Yeah. It's very dangerous. But sports is a microcosm of our society, and sometimes there are hurdles you just can't cross. It is what it is, but we're gonna keep pushing forward because that's what we do. We're built for it, and I think that's probably the attitude that people take is, we can handle it, we're built for it, this is what we do. But a night like tonight, you really can't overcome it.
So there it is. This dangerous name-calling descriptions is what they couldn't overcome. That's what it was. When Iowa completely backed away from all of its shooters and was just daring their shooters to shoot and clogging the lane, it was the dangerous narrative that stopped South Carolina from making any of those shots. And that you couldn't see the little white woman off to the side that was selling this BS. How dangerous is it, Don? It's just so dangerous. Oh, their lives are in jeopardy. Oh my God, it's just so dangerous. And Don Staley's sitting here co-signing, letting this white woman do all this virtue signaling and sell this line of BS. Oh, it's so dangerous. And this is what irritates me about Don Staley. Because long before she was this pampered, coddled millionaire coach, she knows what danger really looks like and what's really dangerous. And it ain't reporters gossiping at a dinner at night. Again, everybody, oh, it's so dangerous. I just couldn't imagine. They called you firefighters. Crips and Bloods can run up and down any street they want in the black community and shoot up whoever they want. And you'll never hear this little white woman, oh, it's so dangerous in Chicago. Oh, it's just so dangerous with the Crips and the Bloods. That ain't dangerous. White reporters sitting at lunch gossiping about Don Staley's team. That's dangerous. These people don't live in reality. And we just keep inventing racial narrative after race to justify and anything. Oh my God. This little white girl, Caitlin Clark, comes in and busts y'all's head wide open. They leave y'all to shoot any shot you want and you can't win. And you want to sit there, oh, it's just so dangerous. My players couldn't play because reporters were gossiping about them. And Lisa Bluter, the coach of Iowa, said we were firefighters. It's just so dangerous. I mean, how do we do this? How? Now, a group of rappers can sit around and call black women every name in the book, can talk about raping them, can talk about slapping them, could talk about anything. None of that's dangerous. That's just good dance music. But oh my God, with reporters and and so we're off in gossip land. I haven't seen this. And correct me, and I could be wrong, I could not be thinking, but do we really have athletes now holding press conferences about gossip? I mean, could you imagine LeBron James? I mean, and he's probably the wrong example because he gossiped about what happened at his front gate. But could you imagine Michael Jordan or any of these other athletes sitting up going, man, I heard that Karl Malone and John Stockton were out to dinner the other night. And I heard they said something, but my mama wore combat boots. You know how dangerous that is? But again, they're turning sports into The View, into desperate housewives, desperate basketball players, and it's just gossip and innuendo. The LSU players followed the lead of Don Staley, picked up right where she left off. The Tigers claim they were disrespected and upset about the way Iowa defended South Carolina. I think that through. I'm not joking. The LSU players before the championship game were saying that they felt disrespected by the way Iowa did them a favor and eliminated South Carolina from the tournament. Iowa did them a favor because if South Carolina had won, LSU wouldn't be the national champions. But somehow They were disrespected by the way Iowa defended LSU. Now, I got to hat tip Kim Mulkey, and I just, transparency, I consider Kim Mulkey a friend. Have known her, I believe, since Brittany Griner's freshman year. I consider Kim Mulkey a friend. Here's what, I think Kim Mulkey baited her team into following along in Don Staley's footsteps and buying into this racial narrative. I don't really respect it. Again, I like and respect Kim Mulkey. Don't like the energy her and her team tapped into here, but I don't blame her. She's a coach. She's gonna take any advantage she can. And if that's what will spark and drive her players to go out and want to destroy Iowa, most coaches would do it. If y'all want to pretend like Iowa is the KKK, if that will get y'all to beat Iowa and defend Caitlin Clark, have at it, ladies. Here's a little tape of Caitlin Clark talking smack. Y'all want to spin this in some type of racial narrative? Hey, Don, could you call my team and tell them how racist Iowa is? And so coaches will do anything. But you'll just never convince me that in any authentic way that the fact that South Carolina wasn't defended along the perimeter somehow was disrespectful to LSU. But that was offered as part of the justification for Reese stalking and taunting Clark at the conclusion of LSU's victory in Sunday's championship game. Now, Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy and political pundit Keith Olbermann responded to Reese's classless taunting by topping Reese's lack of class via Twitter. Portnoy called Reese a piece of poop, and Olbermann called Reese a effing idiot. Portnoy and Olbermann's tweets justified ESPN's Jalen Rose connecting the criticism of Reese to Staley's post-game whining. Jalen Rose tweeted, "How Angel Reese is being vilified by many highlights exactly what Don Staley was talking about." No, it actually highlights the stupidity and lack of emotional control of Portnoy and Olbermann. It highlights how social media has ruined public discourse and baits people into dismissing common sense and restraint. If Twitter existed in 1997, I'm sure I would have called Fuzzy Zeller a piece of poop or an effing idiot. Luckily, I had editors and I wrote a rational column explaining the obvious animus, jealousy, and bigotry motivating Zeller's comments. Most people in mainstream media rebuked Fuzzy Zeller in 1997. But we don't live in 1997 anymore. And so that's not the case as it relates to Angel Reese in 2023. Most of the corporate media are afraid to criticize Reese. She's black, everyone fears the race card, and so people like Ryan Clark preemptively played the race card via Twitter. Here's what Clark, the ESPN broadcaster, former football player, and former LSU football player, here's what he said. If you praise Caitlin Clark as competitive, fiery, and passionate for doing the "you can't see me" celebration and are criticizing Angel Reese for the same, we already know. So what do we actually know? We know that Caitlin Clark briefly waved her hand in front of her face in the Elite Eight game against Louisville. The gesture wasn't directed at any particular player. Clark claims it was directed at an Iowa assistant coach. Take a listen for yourself.
The shrug. The shrug. We got the shrug. We got, well, this is new, like right here.
Do you get in it?
No, I don't like to do it. I wasn't doing it to other people. I was doing it to one of our coaches. Like, I was like,
not the coach.
I'm not face. No, our coach. I'm not face. Right here. Yeah. Right here. Yeah, right there. Good.
Do you have...
That's Caitlin Clark before any Final Four game was played. That's her before this was even remotely controversial. That was her explaining what happened at Louisville. Go watch the tape. They're just not the same. What we know about Clark is she plays with a bravado, a style, and an air of cockiness that mirrors Golden State Warriors guard Steph Curry. Clark is a bit of a hot dog. We know that. Hot dogs are annoying, not classless. I'm not really a fan of either, but one is worse than the other. What Reese did was classless. Reese reminds me of college football stars Johnny Manziel and Baker Mayfield. The two Heisman Trophy winners were widely criticized for their on-air, on-field antics. No one called the criticism racist because Manziel and Mayfield are white. In America, it's appropriate to criticize the poor behavior of white people. We rationalize and sometimes even celebrate the poor behavior of black people. Let's watch what happened to Johnny Manziel and Baker Mayfield in real time and how they were criticized in real time.
Like conduct, number 2 of the offense, 15-yard penalty, will have the try.
Well, a lot of people around college football that are kind of tired of this. Is that really necessary? You just proved yourself in what you did on the field. That's twice now. Now, we did see some guys harassing him in the first half, faking as if they were signing autographs, and that got Johnny upset. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. That happens every...
So, just so we're on the same page, that's in real time as the games are being broadcast. They're being called out and criticized. Those aren't broadcasters taking to Twitter minutes after the game, hours after the game, and criticizing Baker Mayfield and Johnny Manziel. That's in real time. That's what happened. Go listen to what was said on ABC during the game, after the game, on ESPN. Everything about Angel Reese's behavior was celebrated. No one offered an ounce of criticism. Two idiots, Portnoy and Olbermann, said something inappropriate over Twitter. A bunch of people, not corporate media types, but a bunch of people, Danny Cannell, Danny Cannell's left corporate media, but he's been a media figure. A few people called it classless because it was classless. And let's quit acting like it was the exact same thing. What Angel Reese did was the exact same thing as what Caitlin Clark did in the Louisville game. Do we have those clips? Portnoy put out a good piece of video content comparing what Caitlin Clark did and what Angel Reese did. One was a little 2-second blip. 1 second blip, maybe. The other, someone is stalking someone at the end of a championship game. Everybody's trying to say that there, with no Louisville player in sight in the picture, is the exact same as following someone around at the end of a championship game when everybody has basically stopped playing to taunt them. They're not the same thing. One of them lasts a second, one of them lasts 10 to 12 seconds, one of them involves an opponent, the other one doesn't. They're not the same thing. People are lying. But we rationalize and celebrate the behavior we desire and expect. We want black girls to handle success in a classless manner. We want young black people to prioritize their skin color above all else. Following Sunday's game, Angel Reese bragged about being ghetto and hood and inspiring other black girls to do the same. Take a listen.
I'm happy. I mean, all year I was critiqued about who I was. The narrative, I don't fit the narrative. I don't fit in the box that y'all want me to be in. I'm too hood, I'm too ghetto. Y'all told me that all year. But when other people do it, y'all don't say nothing. So this was for the girls that look like me, that's gonna speak up on what they believe in. It's unapologetically you. And that's what I did it for tonight. This was for it was bigger than me tonight. It was bigger than me. Twitter is gonna go in a rage every time. And I mean, I'm happy. I feel like I've helped grow women's basketball this year. I'm super happy and excited. So I'm looking forward to celebrating in the next season.
Let me break this truth and again, this is why I go back to Fuzzy Zeller and credit and just people worried about being diminished and being threatened by Caitlin Clark. Same thing Tiger Woods went through. This woman just said, I feel like I helped grow women's college basketball. I'm not saying this to be disrespectful, I'm just speaking it factually. No one knew who this woman was a week or two ago. Hardcore women's basketball people knew, but no one knew. The person growing the game is Caitlin Clark. It's clear as day. Everybody knows it. She's must-see TV. LSU's a nice team. Kim Mulkey's the star of that team, Kim Mulkey and her Jackets. But again, Angel Reese wants that credit. She grew the game this year. Cut it out. That's BS. That's just clout chasing, looking for credit. And she next year she might, because she's injected herself into the conversation by being this classless. But ain't nobody tuning in to see her 6'3" grab some offensive rebounds and throw them up towards the basket. She's not a skilled player. She's big. She's bigger than everybody else. Congrats. She won the genetics lottery and is using it to exploit women's college basketball. This other girl is skilled and fun to watch and a reason to tune in. Reese sounds as misinformed and bigoted as Fuzzy Zeller. The game of basketball is dominated by black athletes. There's no shortage of basketball role models for black kids. There's a glut. What basketball lacks is a homegrown white American star who plays with flair and style. Basketball needs a Tiger Woods. Don Staley and Angel Reese would rather see the game forego the growth Clark can deliver than see the spotlight on a white star. We've seen all this before. It will be interesting to see if the bigots break Caitlin Clark. They couldn't break Tiger Woods. We'll see if this black girl is just as strong.